Hey gamers, welcome! Today we're diving into something truly unique, the sequel to the iconic Death Stranding. Ready to see how Kojima's vision has evolved? Let's get right into it.
Death Stranding 2. On the Beach picks up right where we left off. Sam Porter Bridges is back in a fractured world, once again tasked with reconnecting isolated regions. The gameplay seamlessly blends those signature heavy package deliveries with strange encounters and haunting landscapes, creating that unmistakable Kojima atmosphere we know and love. While the original was definitely polarizing, this follow-up refines many of its core mechanics and significantly expands on the story. If you're new to the series, a quick recap of the first game is definitely recommended. This world is dense, filled with lore the game expects you to know. If you loved the original's slow burn and weird charm, this sequel truly builds on that foundation. But let's be honest, if the first one wasn't your thing, DS2 might not entirely change your mind. Still, it's a wild ride worth experiencing for its sheer ambition. This sequel goes all in. We're talking more engaging gameplay, expanded tools, larger battles, much sharper combat and stealth mechanics, and even cooler boss encounters. The worlds feel genuinely bigger and more alive. At first, I won't lie, the opening hours felt incredibly familiar. Same animations, same delivery routines, similar environments. You might even wonder what took so long in development. But hang tight, because after that initial stretch, the improvements truly begin to shine through. The core gameplay loop remains the same, delivering packages across a fractured world, but it's been smartly streamlined with new, engaging features that make it feel remarkably fresh. The pacing is also much better. Where the first game sometimes dragged with overly long cutscenes and repetitive dialogue, this one keeps the story moving steadily. You're still free to explore and take on deliveries however you like, but the game does an excellent job of weaving in consistent story moments and a sense of urgency around key missions. There's less constant chatter, but what you get instead feels much more meaningful. Navigation, menu management, and route planning have all been significantly improved. You'll spend less time clicking through menus and more time actually playing. Vehicles, zip lines, and even monorails now come into play much sooner, helping you traverse the landscape faster than ever. Sure, you might lose a bit of that early game tension of painstakingly climbing mountains on foot, but what you gain is a more dynamic, accessible gameplay experience that builds on the original in incredibly exciting ways. The game also introduces a dynamic weather system that really shakes things up. Rain, sandstorms, flooding rivers, and even new fire hazards now directly affect your deliveries, forcing you to adapt your strategy on the fly. It adds a fresh layer of challenge that, honestly, I wish was explored even more. Death Stranding 2 smartly rewards your efforts by gradually handing you powerful new tools. From faster exoskeletons to better weapons and stealth gadgets. Every single upgrade feels meaningful and genuinely pushes you to tackle bigger, riskier deliveries with newfound confidence. Combat and stealth, in particular, have taken a noticeable leap forward. While I wasn't a huge fan of the original's somewhat clunky fighting, this time around, it's much smoother and more tactical. You can scout enemies better, use tall grass for cover, mark foes, and truly decide whether to sneak past or go loud with improved weapon handling. Even with all these additions, the core delivery loop remains perfectly intact for those who prefer to focus on exploration and package hauling. But when action calls, it's satisfying and well-designed, especially during those intense boss fights. This balance keeps Death Stranding 2 feeling fresh without losing what made the first game so special, making it an engaging experience for both returning fans and newcomers. And to wrap up, yes, there's a ton of classic Hideo Kojima magic, sprinkled throughout Death Stranding 2. I'm definitely a fanboy here, ever since Metal Gear Solid 1, so take my bias with a grain of salt. The game delivers intense music, cool soldiers, striking art design, badass robots, and those over-the-top action set pieces Kojima's known for. Some moments do feel a bit too self-referential to the first game, and sadly, the BT encounters don't quite hit the same tension levels. They feel a bit easier and less threatening this time around, which might just be because I'm more familiar with this world now. That said, the core strand gameplay, building roads, using bridges others made, giving thumbs up, remains incredibly compelling and is even better with the earlier availability of more tools and tech. The upgrades and customization feel like endgame content from the original, making it deeply satisfying to play through. I honestly enjoyed exploring this weird, haunting world more than ever before. The story, while imperfect and sometimes uneven, kept me hooked enough to desperately want to see what happens next. The highs are genuinely some of the coolest, most memorable moments I've seen in games lately. Sam himself is a stronger, more active character this time, which helps the narrative considerably. He's still quiet, but feels more significant and is incredibly customizable. The visuals make him look truly lifelike. In short, Death Stranding 2 feels familiar, but vastly improved. The gameplay is more engaging, the pacing is better, and the world is even more immersive. Fans of the original will likely love the updates, and being back in this truly unique universe, one where death is a nuclear-level event, Rain ages your skin, some people have inexplicable powers, and celebrity cameos are just part of the weird charm. It's not for everyone, but if you're into this kind of game, you're in for a hell of a ride. That's my before you buy take, covering the pros, the cons, and my personal thoughts. Now, I want to hear from Sash, you in the comments. Did you play the first game? Are you jumping into DS2 right away? Or will you wait for updates? Are you excited for the sequel, or is it not your kind of game at all? Let's talk about Death Stranding 2. If you liked this video and found it helpful, please hit that like button. It really helps us out. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.